Thanks. I'm Thomas Mannsdorfer, 53 years old. I'm living in Barcelona for the last 11 years. Originally, I'm from Fribourg in Switzerland, and I'm working as an underwriter and partner of Nirvana Underwriting, who is a new MGA platform that's providing corporate insurance solutions in Europe, in particular for M&A transactions. Yes, it's true. I'm working in insurance for about 25 years and it did change a lot. Obviously, the industry is much more digital, much more modern now, much more automated. But at the same time, it's also an industry that has been regulated, like the whole finance sector, basically protecting consumers and insurers. Innovations, maybe a last point. A lot of new products have been innovated for specific industries, for specific personal needs as well. And I think that's a very positive development. I think angel investing is something that always interested me, but it was something inaccessible for a long time because I thought, it's only people either that, have quite a lot of money, let's say this way, or have a family fund or a private equities can really invest into new companies, startups, but that's not necessarily the case. And I think COREangels, and we'll discuss about that, does give a platform that people that are generally interested to invest part of their time and their money to do so. COREangels Barcelona has been founded 3 years ago. I've been very fortunate to be one of the first members of COREangels and one of the founding members, also part of the board of COREangels and one of the first investors. I've joined thanks to a personal contact I had to Urs Rothmeier, who is our chapter leader and in Barcelona, and he basically said, why don't you you always wanted to do that, let's just try it with a few colleagues, and we did so. And by now, we're over 20 investors. We've invested in more than 14 startup companies, so it has grown quite a lot in the last 3 years. I think it specifically means to me to be able to participate in this angel investment with part, let's say, of my funds or my assets, and do this in a very professional but also very democratic way. So every single investor does have one vote. So one woman, one vote, one man, one vote. It's not depending really whether you invest, let's say 25,000 or 50 or 100,000. You still have one vote. We always take these decisions in a very democratic way, listening to our new projects, listening to possible new startups that are seeking investment, and then deciding after a discussion that is either online or sometimes in person in which companies we want to invest in. COREangels as a global community is also a fantastic tool, because that means that we can exchange best practices, we can exchange experiences with certain sectors, and we can also have, which we do, meetings online or in person, and it's also a network. So beyond all of that, it's also another good business network. I think I'm obviously very excited about the one that I'm an archangel, which is called Deely. So Deely is a platform. I shouldn't say is a platform, actually it's the first European platform that does offer the possibility for the participants of M&A, being sellers, being investors, or being also buyers, investors, buyers, which may be the same or not, of certain target companies, to identify those target companies on the platform, to start negotiating the terms, to start contacting them, which is a much more faster process and gives access to many more options than it used to be before, where basically you had to have an introducer, a bank or an M&A specialist doing this work for you and searching target companies, which is now possible in an electronic way. I think my perspective, it's basically I hope to give something in the way that I can be a mentor. You know, I'm there basically trying to identify maybe some spots where a startup company could improve certain things, or maybe also connect the startup company to other investors, or connect them to specific people they may need in the HR sector or in the marketing sector, which may not be their core, let's say, activity. Besides that, we're not intrusive, so we're not part of their board, we're not directors of the company. We're simply there to have regular discussions and provide a platform for them. I think it is very good, you know, as a citizen as well, to support new undertakings, to support growth, to support innovation. Also, a lot driven by tech, of course, in Barcelona. And I think if someone is thinking about that, it is really wise to invest part of one's fund in startups. Obviously, it's higher risk. It's like high risk, no risk with no fun, we say. And obviously it does mean that some, we hope not many, some of the startups may not be successful or not be successful right away. But we think the way we choose our startups and we help them and we assist them and don't manage them, but assist them, we think, you know, that there's quite a likelihood that some of them will be very successful in the future. I think on one hand side, it's of course tech, as it has always been, and I think maybe COVID, as bad as it was for us, it did, you know, push the tech sector quite a bit, even how we work. Now I'm working in an office, like many of us, how we work, how we communicate, so a lot more can be done in a digital way. Besides that, I also think, you know, that very classical sectors, which maybe no one would have awaited so much, like food, like production, like even water, or raw materials, have been or might be quite a good investment for the future. Victoria, it was a pleasure, my pleasure.